A couple of dollars makes the game more interesting.
$50. $100 on the game.
$100, that's all.
Bet him $50, even up.
I bet just about every week, yeah, on the football games.
In the game of football, there's more than one way to make a pass. This football season, more than $50 billion will be passed from bettor to bookie, and all but a tiny portion of that money will be spent outside the law. That makes illegal gambling on college and professional football one of the largest industries in the United States. I'm Michael Padnos, and this is MoneySense Report. There's a name for it, gambling on sporting events. It's called gaming. It's clandestine, immensely profitable, and entirely illegal, except in the state of Nevada. In the other 49 states, gaming is at the financial heart of organized crime. Football is the most popular gambling sport in America. There isn't even a close second. Experts estimate that almost half the people who follow football regularly have some financial interest in the outcome of the game. But try to get someone to admit to an involvement in illegal gambling. It isn't easy. We went to Long Island to talk with Ed Horowitz, otherwise known as the Professor, a professional sports handicapper.
Professor, your account number.
Your account number.
Professor, your account number.
You seem a little surprised at the frenzy of activity going on here tonight.
You got a visa?
You shouldn't be if you look at the time and if you look at the day of the week. Today is Monday. The time is now 6:30. That's exactly 2.5 hours before Monday Night Football, the famous show. Monday Night Football, Howard Cosell, etc., etc. Now, the people who are calling us between now and 8 o'clock are calling us because they would like to know if they were going to make a bet on the game, because, of course, we don't talk about things like that because, that might be deemed to be illegal. But if they were going to make a bet on the game, would they be better off, in our opinion, taking the Cleveland Browns plus the 3.5 points, or would they be better off taking the Dallas Cowboys and giving the 3.5 points? Tonight, over the next hour and a half, over 200 people will call us and ask us our opinion in this matter, and we're going to give it to them.
In most states, like Massachusetts, it's not illegal to place a bet, only to receive one. It's the bookie, not the bettor, who is violating the law. Ed Horowitz runs an operation that is perfectly legal, but it serves an industry which is almost completely illegal.
I'm not giving a service to bookmakers. I'm not providing a service to bookmakers. That, I would feel, would be illegal, and it's not something I want to be involved with. Do I want to do anything illegal? No. Am I doing anything illegal? No. Am I servicing people doing things illegally? No.
The size of the gaming industry may be suggested by the number of publications which serve it. In the town of Great Neck, New York, a publishing empire is flourishing. Steve Epstein is general manager of college and pro football.
Our publication, I feel, is the most comprehensive football publication in this country today. And there definitely is a segment of the people who purchase this publication, whether on the newsstand or by subscription, that will use it for gambling. I would have to say that our publication could serve the same purpose as the Wall Street Journal does to the financial community.
While it isn't the Wall Street Journal, college and pro football is no underground newspaper either. It's an upfront, weekly tabloid chock full of information for the do-it-yourself football bettor. Some of the best sports writers in the country contribute to its pages. It's on the legitimate surface of an illegitimate industry, evidence of the lucrative and widespread practice of football betting.
Except for the Super Bowl, Monday Night Football is probably the single biggest sports betting event of the week.
It's 9 o'clock Monday night, and all across the country, men are gathering in bars and pubs to watch their wages being played out on the football game of the week. In Runyon's, a bar in New York City, Jack Walsh, editor of the Newsweek publication Inside Sports, tells us why his magazine carries a regular feature on football gambling.
It's the same reason that Penthouse has sex articles. Everybody does it. And I thought that the only reason that most people watch football games is because they're betting a nickel, a dime, or whatever. I think that the reality of a sports fan's life is reflected largely in gambling.
If you're not a bettor, You may find it hard to understand why millions of people like to spend their Sunday afternoons glued to the tube, watching 1, 2, and even 3 football games in a row. The mystery seems less confusing, though, if you consider how many of those people have got money on the game. Television brings the gambler right to the 50-yard line, and if you've got money up front, that's exactly where you want to be.
It is big. It is big business. It is very glamorous, and when it's glamorous, we want to bet on it. There's no question there is a relationship there, and probably as long as television glamorizes this game, people will continue to bet on it in big numbers.
Upton Bell, past general manager of 2 NFL teams and a sportscaster on WBZ Radio.
What comes first? Is it television or is it gambling? I would say that gambling is always there, but like most of our carnal thoughts, they need to be stirred. And through television, in particular, they stir the thoughts to gamble.
Mike Adamley, NBC sportscaster.
You know, maybe 10 years ago, Esther Gamamowski from Skokie, Illinois, would have never turned on a Monday night football game. Esther, who happens to work at the Fifth National Bank and Loan Company in Skokie, has got into a football pool now, and now she wants to turn on the television. And she is probably one of a whole handful of people who never cared before and are now watching television and may be responsible for the larger numbers that they have.
Television promotes it, magazines push it, newspapers carry it. Does anybody try to stop illegal wagering on football?
We fear we are at least making a small dent into it, but all it is just, it interrupts their operation at best. As soon as we make a raid, that somebody else will open up an attempt to take over the business because it flourishes so much and there's so much money involved in it.
Sergeant Henderson of the Massachusetts State Police.
Well, we have found through our intelligence and our exposure to it that it's probably up to almost equal to the state budget. Approximately $5 billion a year is wagered on athletic contests, particularly in football games, during the course of a year.
Some say football gambling grosses as much as General Motors. How can an industry of this magnitude exist outside the law? Upton Bell expresses a widely held view.
My bottom line as far as gambling is concerned, it's one of the few things I think people ought to let alone. It's not really bothering anybody, and let everybody deal with their own conscience and their own bookie and their own friends or enemies.
Next Saturday, this stadium will be filled with fans. Many of them will be here to cheer their team, but many others will be here to play the game of chance. Despite the odds, despite the law, football gambling flourishes, a continuing testimony to man's relentless pursuit of fortune at the hands of fate.
After this break, a look at a new do-it-yourself product, home pregnancy test kits.